This is Lesson 0, Session 5, Solving Area Problems. The learning target for this lesson is I can multiply a whole number of up to 4 digits by a 1-digit whole number and multiply two 2-digit numbers. Try it. Let's make sense of the problem. Kevin makes a rectangular mural with colored tiles. He has enough tiles to cover 112 square feet. He uses all the tiles. The mural is 8 feet wide. How long is the mural? So let's take this problem apart and see if we can find what this problem is about. So we're going to underline what this problem is about. Kevin makes a rectangular mural with colored tiles. So it's about Kevin making a mural. What are you trying to find out? What we are trying to find out is how long is the mural? And finally, what information is important? So when we read back through, we see that he has enough tiles to cover 112 square feet. He uses all the tiles and that it's 8 feet wide. So there's the important numbers for us to use. I hope you have these marked in your book as well, because now it's time to solve and support your thinking. So on your own, you're going to pause the video and try out this problem by yourself in your workbook, and then we are going to go back through the solutions. So once again, Kevin makes a rectangular mural with colored tiles. He has enough tiles to cover 112 square feet. He uses all the tiles. The mural is 8 feet wide. How long is the mural? So as soon as you have this problem solved, press play again so we can discuss and go through solutions. All right, discuss. And this might be tricky at home, but you might even just end up talking to yourself. And that's okay. I do it all the time. Here are some discussion starters. A model I used was, it helped me. At first I thought, can you explain that again? Or I agree with you about because. All right, let's go through some strategies that you can use to solve this problem. Picture it. You can use a picture to help solve area problems. First, you can make a sketch of the mural. So here's the rectangular mural, and his tile covers 112 square feet. And we know that the width is 8 feet, but we don't know the length of our mural, so we have this question mark up here. Since you multiply the length and width of a rectangle to find the area, we can think 8 times something equals 112. So again, the formula that we use to find the area of a rectangle is length times width. The area is all this in the middle, basically how much stuff is inside. Model it. You can use the formula for the area of a rectangle to help understand the problem. Area equals length times width. The area of the mural is 112 square feet. It can be covered by 8 rows of square units that each have an area of 1 square foot. The number of square units in each row is also the number of feet in the length of the mural. So if we look at this, I'll get rid of my scribbles here. So 8 feet, if each square, each tile that's covering it is 1 square foot, then basically what we have is 8 rows. So if I divide this up into 8 rows, I'm trying to do these straight, but it's not quite working out. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 rows. Each one of these is 1 foot, so altogether it makes 8 feet. What we need to find is how many columns here across the length would make 112 square feet altogether. Connect it. Make connections and explain your thinking. Number 1, write an equation to represent the area of the mural. So the area of our mural is 112 square feet. And we know that the width is 8. The length we don't know. So it's 8 times some number equals 112. Number 2, describe how you can find the length of the mural. I would like you to see if you can figure this out and then press play again and we'll go over it together. So something that I would do is I would probably use an inverse operation. Inverse basically just means the reverse, the opposite of what we're doing here. So what we're doing here is multiplying 8 times something equals 112. And so if we use the opposite of multiplication, that would be division. So I would flip this around and I'd say 112 divided by 8 is going to tell us this number, the number that we don't know. So when we divide that, 112 divided by 8, what we get is 14. So the length of the mural is 14 feet. And if you're not quite sure how to divide, but you're pretty steady on your multiplication right now, don't worry, we're going to get to this dividing later this year and get that solid. But if you want to just go through your 8 multiplication facts, or you can keep adding 8 until you get to 112, that would work too. Number 4, Kevin notices another package of tiles. This package can make a rectangular mural with an area of 152 square feet. Suppose Kevin wants to use these tiles to make another mural that is 8 feet wide. Write an equation that can help you find the length of this mural. All right, so if we know that our equation is that the area equals length times width, then to write the equation here, we know that the total area is 152 square feet. And we know that the width is 8 feet wide. So we can say that 8 times some length equals 152. Number 5, find the length of the rectangular mural Kevin can make with a package of tiles that covers an area of 152 square feet. So if we use an inverse operation here, the opposite of multiplication is division. And so when we divide, we always start with the total, and then we're dividing it apart. So 152 divided by 8 is going to be our equation. So that's 152 total area divided into 8 rows is going to tell us basically how many columns going up and down. So if we have 152 divided by 8, then the length is going to be 19 feet. Number 6, suppose that you know the length and area of a rectangle. How would you find the width? So if we know the length and the area, how would you find the width? So remember, area equals length times width. So if we know the area, so we know this one, and we know the length, but we don't know the width, we can do the exact same thing we were doing before. And we can use an inverse operation and turn it around. And we can say the area, which is the total that we're dividing apart, divided by the length, which is the one that we know, is going to equal that width that we don't know. Connect it. Reflect on what you've learned. Look back at your Try It strategies by classmates and picture it and model it. Which models or strategies do you like best for solving area problems? And explain. I can't tell you which one you like the best. That's up to you. So go ahead and pause the video right now and write down your response and explain why you feel that way, and then we'll continue. All right, it's time to apply your thinking to a new problem. Number 8. Carla has a rectangular garden in her backyard. The width of the garden is 9 meters. The area of the garden is 360 square meters. What is the length of the garden? Show your work. This problem is on your own, so please pause and solve this problem in your workbook, and then when you have it completely finished, then press play and we'll check it. Okay, I hope you have that problem done, because if you don't have it done, pause again and make sure it's finished. I'm going to start with a diagram here. So here is Carla's garden. It's 360 square meters, which is the total area. All this inside is, there would be 360 squares all put together that would fill up this garden. And we know that the width is 9 meters. So it's 9 1-meter rows. What we need to find is the length. So here's what is the length of the garden. So this is the one that we don't know. So if we think about our equation, that area equals length times width. Then we can plug in these numbers for the parts that we already know, and that will show us which part we need to find. So we know the area, the total area, is 360 meters. We don't know the length, so we're going to put a question mark right there. Now, in the future, you're going to replace this question mark with a letter. Normally, in this case, it would be L. What we're doing here is actually some algebra, which is kind of cool. So we don't know the length, but we do know the width. The width is 9. So we have 360 equals something times 9. And I'm looking at this problem, and I know that if I kind of ignore this 0 right here, and I can just kind of stick that in my back pocket and I'll bring it back later, and I'll use it in just a little bit. But if I ignore that 0 for right now, I'll just kind of get rid of this one. What I have here is 36 equals something times 9. And I actually know that. I've learned my multiplication facts, so I know that 9 times 4 equals 36. So I know that if I put my width here, so there I have 36 equals 4 times 9. But I remember I still have that 0 in my back pocket that I'm saving for later. So I'm going to bring that out now, and I'm going to stick that 0 back on because we can't completely forget about it. So 360 equals, if I have a 0 there, we'll just add that 0 right there. So 360 equals 40 plus 9. So the length of our garden in the backyard is actually 40 meters. Now let's just check to make sure we have 40 times 9. That's our length times our width. And it should equal 360 when we multiply, and it does. So we know our answer is correct. Thank you for joining me for the Lesson 0 sessions. I will see you back here on YouTube when we begin Lesson 1.